In this video, we'll be showing you how to put in insurance plans into the EHR. To begin with, we'll want you to have signed into the EHR, and essentially we need to go into the patient's demographic area. One of the easiest ways to do that, oftentimes what opens right away, is the patient selection area. As you may know, you can get there by going to the side menu and selecting Open Chart, and I have that open already. But to put in insurance plans, we essentially just have to open demographics for any patient. In this case, I'll just use this top test patient that we have here. And if we go to the right-hand side, there's this middle button that if we click on Edit, it's going to open us the patient's demographics. So that's what I'm going to go into. As you may know, the second tab over, entitled Subscriber, I'm going to click on that. And that's where we actually can link up a particular insurance plan with the patient. Now it's possible maybe you already have a linkage of some sort or an insurance plan listed. In this case we don't, so at the upper right I'm going to click on the plus button. Now this is acting as if we were going to put in an insurance for this patient, but this is the step to actually populate all of the insurance plans as well. Now, as you can notice here, one of the requirements is actually indicating the insurance plan. Well, if we don't have any in, what we're going to do here is click on this plus button to start populating and creating those. Now, we're going to go through all this information and what you need to fill out. To begin with, at the upper left, we're going to put in the plan name. Likely you'll know what that is. In this case, we'll just make a plan for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and I'll just name it BCBS. After that, we need to select the carrier. We can use this magnifying glass. Generally, these will be pre-populated in the system for us to select from. You could think of it as a way to group certain insurance plans under a single carrier. So maybe we have many different Blue Cross Blue Shield plans, but they'd fall under this particular carrier. We also have commercial insurance, others that may be appropriate to select. In this case, we'll select BCBS and hit OK. Next up, we also need to put in the address. Now, this may not always be required, but it is a good practice to get into. Some particular carriers may deny or reject the claims if there is no address entered. So we'll put one in, and that is good practice to do. As part of this process, we do need to put in the zip code, city, and state. Now, technically, you could type that out in each of these boxes. We're going to show you a better way. Generally, it's best to start off by typing in the zip code and then hitting this search button off to the right. That's going to automatically do a search and find a city and state that's no doubt appropriate for us to select and hit OK. And what this does, as you can see, it popped in the city for us, but something it did for us that's really helpful is under state, it actually put in the 2-digit state code along with the full name of the state. If we were just to put in the 2-digit code or just type in Wisconsin, in this case, the name of the state, it may not go through on our claims correctly and could actually cause rejections as well. So best to do the search with the zip code in this case. Going to the right here, we have some other information that we're going to fill out. Under the claim submission area, we want to choose if this is going to be a paper or electronic insurance plan. You'll notice if I select paper, automatically over at the right-hand side, paper submission 4 default checks the secondary and tertiary for a submission under this plan. If we do select electronic, there's some additional fields that get these red asterisks, meaning they're required. So part of those will go right into Clearinghouse here. By default, within this system is the Practice Insight Clearinghouse. So that's what we're going to select in this case. If you have a different clearinghouse, that may be able to be selected here, but for the vast majority, it will be Practice Insight. To the right of that, we also have EDI setting. Similarly, in most cases, we'll have Practice Insight again. We'll select here. This is a demonstration system and happens to have Gateway EDI as an EDI setting, so we're just going to select that this time around. As we can see up here now under Paper Submission 4, we can choose to check these checkboxes or not when this plan is going to be used for a secondary or a tertiary, so we can optionally check those checkboxes. A little bit further below, as we get to Insurance Group, this is a way to send out this plan with information for NPI and tax ID a certain way. So if we want it to be going out as a group NPI or an individual, we oftentimes will have two options within this insurance group between group or individual to select from. Just go ahead and select the appropriate group in your case. Similarly with eligibility group, we actually will just have one option generally to select from here, entitled eligibility group, and I'll make that selection here. A little bit further below, we have HCFA 33 billing provider address. So here we can choose between pay to address and billing address. If we're just a single location, oftentimes billing address will be the appropriate selection. If we have many or a number of locations, maybe a pay to address would be appropriate. Just a little bit below that, we have don't send statement. So this is an optional checkbox to check. This will prevent anyone who has this insurance plan from receiving patient statements. So oftentimes we want our patients to receive statements, so we probably will leave this unchecked. But there could be scenarios where anybody who has this plan, we don't want to receive a statement. Maybe certain payers like an attorney insurance, that could potentially be a reason to check that box. Moving to the upper right, we have fee schedule. Now, if we only have one fee schedule in the system, or we want this plan to be linked to the default fee schedule, leave this blank. That's going to make it easier for us in the long run. But if we have multiple fee schedules and we want to select an appropriate one here that's not default, we could make that selection. Maybe we have a Medicare or a Blue Cross Blue Shield fee schedule, something along those lines. You could make that selection in that case. Okay, a little bit further down, we have payer ID. Now, if you happen to know what that is, you can put that in. It is required. Now, if you don't know what it is, we have a website we can actually look these up. And I'll include that website in a link in the YouTube description if you're watching this on YouTube. But to find that at the top of my browser here, you'll note here's the actual website. But this allows us to look up the payer IDs and some other information on this EDI Insight website. The easiest thing for us to do is make sure our list type to start off with is claim. I'm going to hit update list here. And this is going to show a list of all of the different carriers supported. And at the far left, that's what we're looking for, is that payer ID. Now to find the right one, you notice I've already started this, but you can actually, on the top area here under search, I usually will select name and then start typing in who I'm looking for. Now there might be different ways to, or different ways that the name of the plan is labeled in this system. So you might try a different ways. So for example, we could try BCBS and you could see some are labeled that way. Other times, I'm actually just going to start typing in the word blue and then cross, and you'll see some are labeled that way. So whatever it takes, just keep searching and you'll find the particular plan that you're looking for. So once you find that plan, you're going to want to note the payer ID on the left-hand side. Something to be careful of, though, is noticing the type of carrier. For example, if it has INST here in the name, or under the format column INST, that's going to be an institutional provider, or rather payer ID. And then we have, you'll notice here, professional claims are labeled as well. So we'll want to make sure we're choosing the right one. So I'm actually going to make a copy of this payer ID and go back to our window here, and I can paste that in or type it in. Just to the right of that, we have the eligibility payer ID. So we can actually obtain that as well from the EDI payer list if we don't know what that is. We go back to here. One thing we'll want to note first of all is the real-time eligibility column. It should say either both or X12 if eligibility is supported. So if it is supported, what we can do is then switch our list type at the top to eligibility and hit update list. And we're going to find the particular payer ID using this method. So again, we could make sure our selection for search is name. We can type in our name here to the right. And in this case, we can pick out the right payer ID. I'm going to grab this one here just for simplicity's sake. And you're often going to notice that these are going to be the same, but good to double check. Now, something else, since we're in this area, we also want to make note of is this filing indicator dropdown. We actually have a 2-digit code to indicate this filing indicator. To get this proper code, if you don't know what it is, you can go back to EDI Insight, and we'll go back to under the claim section. And you're going to notice under payer type, there's this 2-digit code. As you can see for Blue Cross, a lot of the times it's BL. If it's a commercial type insurance, you might see CI or something else. In this case, I do see it is BL, so I'm going to use that 2-digit code and make the proper selection in our list here. So here's Blue Cross Blue Shield, here's commercial insurance, and whatever you're looking for is no doubt going to be available in our list to select. All right, we're almost done. At the right, we also have the HCFA template. Oftentimes, we're going to be just selecting the Medicare template from here, and that's important to do. Optionally, we can select the source of payment if we know that and want to make that selection. We can hit that magnifying glass to pull up our options and make an appropriate selection there. Really, those are the key things to make note of. Once we've filled all of this out, we can hit OK, and that is going to actually make the insurance plan for us. Now, I actually already have this particular exact address already exists, so let me pop in maybe a different address. We'll clear out our state and city information. All right, so now we've got a unique address. It's nice that it does that checking for us. That could avoid putting in a lot of duplicate insurance plans. All right, so I'll hit OK, and you'll note that it actually popped that particular plan in for us. We could use it right away if that's our goal. Maybe we're just putting in one new plan. If we're in the process of putting in many plans, we can go right back to this plus button and start that process over for the next plan that we need to enter in. Well, hopefully this training video was helpful to put in insurance plans. Thanks again for watching.